Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm just getting the video ready for what I'm going to post next week. I will also make an announcement on the front page that'll release probably Sunday, but I'm going to take you through the links. So if you go to content, you know how we've only got Unit 1 open and now our Learning at Homework. So if you click on the Learning at Homework, it's going to open down to here. This is your Google Doc that'll pop up. And it just sort of sees the work that we've been doing that has been cut down to the 3 hours per week as required by the ministry. So we've completed all of these things. Most of you are working away to catch up this week, which is fantastic. So this was our catch-up week. The week before was our zoo 2-part. There was actually a separate Dropbox for both parts of those. I think most of you figured that out. Okay, so next week, what's it going to look like? So you guys are going to be doing another narrative, pulling out sort of important pieces of information, and also writing a summary. So the story itself is called April's Jump. The template you are familiar with. I'm actually going to get rid of this. The template you are familiar with. So it's going to look the same as what you just did for Zoo, only you'll notice April's Jump is quite a bigger story. So you might find that you have more pieces of information while you're filling out your template. So the people that did the best job on their summary were the people who did the best job on their template, because essentially your template is what you pull to write your summary. So if you do a good job on your template, you're just grabbing that information and connecting it into a paragraph down below in the summary. So that's why we spend the time on that part. Okay, so let's go back up to April's Jump. Here's the story. You're going to read that over. I would highly suggest that you read it once first on its own, and then read it a second time and start highlighting the important details. You're going to notice the conflict in the story is the jump. So the problem that's happening in this story is this jump. So that kind of gives it away. So let's look down here. You're going to be able to figure out who the characters are. If you write it in nice sentences here, it makes it easier when you come here because you're almost copy pasting. Same thing here. What is the conflict? You're going to find out whether is it man versus man? Is it man versus himself? Is it man versus nature? Does it fit into a couple categories? Could you justify? You're going to tell me when the story's set, where it's set, what time and place. There could be more than one setting possible, so you would highlight both of those things. Okay, so remember that your conflict, so that's what's over here. So when you figure out your conflict, the conflict ends up being April having to do this jump. So that's the problem in this story. So you're going to do all the events leading up to the rising action, which the climax will be what happens when April actually does the jump. Is she successful in it? Is she not? So that's going to be the climax of your story. So the rising event, you're going to pull the most important details sort of leading up to then. You're going to tell me what happens during the climax after she makes or doesn't make the jump. And then there's going to be some events in the falling action, which will be the things that occur after she makes the jump that she was attempting. So how is the conflict resolved? You're going to talk about that and how the main character is changed. When you come down to your summary, you'll notice up here, this is divided into beginning, middle, and end. A really great way to do your summary would be to do something similar. So in the beginning of the story, April's Jump, we are introduced to the main characters. The main characters are blah, 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 blah. The conflict of the story is da, 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 da. We find out that the story is mainly set blah, blah, right? So that's the kind of thing. As you approach the middle of the story, these are the following events of the rising action. The climax happens when the falling actions are, and then you could end it. At the end of the story, we find out that the conflict is resolved by, and I feel the main character has changed because blah, blah, blah. So that's essentially how your summary should be written, in a way that ties together the beginning, the middle, and then the end, and thinking about your nice transition words that you've been using all the way through. So again, you do a good job here. It makes this part easy peasy. So with the Dropbox, you have 2 rubrics. One is going to relate to how well you filled out your template. You've seen this before. So did you read to draw out ideas? Did you read to make connections? Did you identify the main idea? Did you locate the evidence for a specific purpose? So that would be the grade that you get for there. For your summary, you have the following rubric. I wrote in complete sentences. I began with the topic sentence that identifies the main idea of the narrative, the title of the narrative, and the author's name. This one doesn't have an author's name attached, but you should be able to start with everything else. I included information that supports central ideas of the story by answering the 5 W's and the H. So that is all here. Look at W's, 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 right? And then a little bit more information. And then you get the how over there and some what's, right? So you've got that all done in the way that we've set up the graphic organizer. So I linked my ideas using transition words. Use your own words wherever possible. So don't just copy and paste from the text for me. If you're using the author's exact words, throw them in some quotes, and the full citation. Oops, I should have changed that one for this. Maybe you know what? I think I'm just going to take that one right off because I didn't make you guys do that before anyways. Okay, so that's it. April's jump. You got a week. Take your time. If you want me to look over the graphic organizer prior to you submitting your final summary, let me know, and that's fine too. Oh, you can see one of my other students sending me messages. All right, so good luck with it.